Let's talk about survivor's remorse and the weaponizing of compassion. You have probably, from one time or another, or probably even right now, have had your compassion weaponized. Your survivor's remorse, because you have a good heart, sometimes people take advantage of the good heart you have. You've experienced this with leeching. And now with the newer definition, gaslighting, to go hand in hand with the vampirism. You say, man, I'm doing good, but this person, man, we started at the same time. You got nostalgia, man. I feel for this person, man. I want everybody to make it. Keep that energy, because that's going to be the energy you're going to need when you face a roadblock or a time where you're lacking motivation for your own personal journey. It's at that time where you're going to have to run that take back that says, I want to see everybody make it. I'm trying to do this for everybody. That's when you run that take back. When you're around the less fortunate, don't fall for the trap of elitism, because this can mess you up too. You look at the person and say, hey man, you only as good as the company you keep. There's a difference between keeping the company and attending the company. When Jesus was hanging around sinners, it didn't make him a sinner. It wasn't that Jesus was a sinner, but it didn't make him a loser. He didn't lose any of his powers hanging with these common people, right? Hanging with these Gentiles. He lost none of his divinity, none of his powers. So it just shows you that there's a difference between keeping company and or being down with company. Being down with them is a different thing, because he kept his own status and you keep your own status. But if you believe that by being around the less fortunate, you'll become less fortunate, it will be true, because self-fulfilling prophecy is still part of your divine software that is inherent in you being a human being. And this can get used against you. So you'll start shying away people who actually needed your time and needed your attention. You didn't have to give them your money. You could have gave them a good word, a kind word, instead of, probably just, curbing them hard. You probably could have let them down easier. These things are to be considered when you're talking about karmic currency. So we want to cover that end. Just make sure, like, on the extreme, it can be a detriment to you if you're giving all that you have for others, if you have others that are in your care that are in more immediate need of it. So let's say everybody in your domestic domicile is starving. Are you going to send all of their grocery money to foreign aid? Or are you going to make sure that the people in your house are fed first? Survivor's remorse will have you giving of your substance that is needed for you and yours to the outside. And then you and yours not having enough resources and sustenance to carry on. Or it doesn't make their path easier. And you figure, well, I did a good deed. Why am I not being blessed for it? Because good deeds have measurements on them. And just because we have an open heart will not excuse us from having a closed mind. So we still have to use discernment even in our good deeds. even in our good deeds, we still have to be thinking. We still have to be rational. We still have to be wise. We still have to be logical. To do this is to keep the balance proper, and where you're not feeling untouchable in your exceptionalism. You're saying to yourself, look, I've made it to this height, to this level, and I know that my discipline has put me in a category that I deserve to be in, and it just happens to be a category that not everyone is in. That's okay. You hold on to that, but you don't make that where you're looking at other people as invisible. You're holding on to what you're about, and if anything, you'd be bringing other people up to your level. But you don't want to be the kind of person that's coming down, throwing your standards away to be relatable. You want to let them know enough to know that you know that maybe you understand aspects of their space and their perspective, but you still have the responsibility of displaying your own standard to be emulated and imitated by others. Don't feel sorry about being a survivor. Don't feel guilty about being one of the few. Don't feel like you have to shortchange or downplay who you are because of what others may perceive themselves to be, because you know how much blood, sweat, and tears it took. You're not going to go through all of that and then hand the trophy over to the team that lost. But at the same time, you're going to shake hands with the losing team also. This is very important to understand, because it keeps you in that balance where you don't feel so low that you forfeit where you are, and you don't feel so high up that you forfeit where you are. Super T Sigma. Stay illuminated, people. Much love. Peace.